Welcome back to the Bourbon Note, everybody. I'm Ben. Got another new one on the bar tonight. Let's get into it. So tonight on the bar, I've got, bam, this is Bomberger's Declaration 2024 release. This is another one that is new to me, but not new to the market. It's also another one from Michter's Distillery, 2024 release. So this one is 108 proof. And I guess the interesting thing about this is it's aged in chinquapin oak, which I don't know what that is. I think it's from Japan or something like that. And they use a bit of malted rye in the mash bill. That's the extent of research that I did on this particular bourbon. Now I have had a pour of this at a bar. I think it was last year's 2023 version of it, and really liked it. So I was excited to get a chance to get the bottle. It is $150. I don't know if that's a little bit high. I think it's maybe on the high side, but not ridiculous. But I have certainly seen the bottle on shelves for much more than that. So I was happy to get one, because I remember it being nice and interesting. And so far on the nose, it certainly is coming across as interesting. It's really, really dark and rich. It's got some nice standard bourbon notes. And it also has like it's got like a nice, almost like a pecan, however you choose to say that. Like a little bit of pecan and like some flaky pie crust. I don't know if I'm fully prepared to say pecan pie, but certainly 2 ingredients of pecan pie. But yeah, very, very dark and rich. Bold aromas on the nose. Let's see what happens on the palate. Cheers. Wow, I don't even know what's going on there. That's a wild one. It's really good. It's as bold on the palate as it was on the nose, maybe even a little more so. This has really, really sharp flavors. And I don't mean sharp in a bad way, like off balance, but this is definitely an in-your-face sort of flavor profile in a good way. Like the nose, kind of those dark and rich flavors, sort of molassesy, sort of chocolatey. Comes across as well aged. I don't know what the age is on it, but it has a really nice oak note to it that's kind of well balanced. But this is a sharp, well, I almost want to say bitter, but not bitter in a bad way, but it's leaning on that side. There is some sweetness to it, but it's definitely just a sharp sort of flavor profile. Let's get another sip here and examine this a little further. So I don't know if this is like power of suggestion, since there's this different style of oak. I don't know what that different type of oak maybe adds to the flavor profile or changes it, but the oak note on this is there, but it is unique. It's a different kind, and I don't really know how to explain that, but it's really, really interesting. This is an excellent bourbon, I will say that. $150, excellent. It's open to interpretation. But it's interesting because at first this one was drinking slightly less than the 108 proof point, but then as soon as you swallow it, there's like this building wave of heat and flavor, and it's a really, really nice long finish. Kind of those oak notes up front with like a nice light but dark sweetness, if that makes any sense. There's like caramels in there, but they're dark and rich caramels. It's got the chocolate, and there's almost like a kind of like that sweet and salty, like salted caramel or something like that. This is a really, really, really interesting bourbon. This reminds me of the one that I had before last year, but it's been a while. But I remember that one being particularly unique, and this is not disappointing in that regard. Let's go in for one more sip before we get out of here. Cheers. man, this is just gonna be, I think this is just a roller coaster of a bourbon where every sip you take, every sip I've taken has just gotten better and better and more interesting. But I think this is gonna be one of those ones where every time you have a pour of it, it's gonna be something new. I think that, you know, sometimes you can sit with a bourbon for a while and it's kind of takes you on a bit of a roller coaster journey through flavors, but it's kind of the same thing every time you pour it. I feel like this one is gonna just be more and more interesting every time I have a pour of it, because I feel like this one's wild enough on the palate that if you go for any period of time, you know, a few weeks or a month or so without having it, and then you pour yourself one of these, it's gonna be a surprise again. So $150 is expensive for a bourbon. I do not regret paying that for this bourbon at all. Will I do it again? I would say if I could find this for that price or less, I might get these when they come out yearly. I'm open to the idea of it. It is expensive, but I don't know, things from Michter's just tend to be expensive anytime it's any sort of a limited release. But yeah, this is a super interesting one. This is one you really take your time with. This is a sit down and take your time with it, and then just go back to it every few weeks or something like that, have a pour, and I think it's just gonna be a new experience every time. Similar, but I think it's one of those ones where there's gonna be new stuff showing up every time you have it. This is also a great one to have on the shelf. You got your experienced bourbon friend that comes over and wants to try something interesting if they've never had this. This is gonna be a great one to pour for that. This one might be a good bottle share bottle, you know, if you wanna bring something unique. Because overall, that's what I would describe this one as. It's very unique, but it's not unique in the sense that it's so off profile from bourbon that it makes it unique. It's just got a lot of great bourbon notes that are just kind of wrapped up in all this interesting, just kind of wild flavor profile. And yeah, I'm here for it. So let me know in the comments, as always, have you had this one? Is it any good? Would you pay the price for it? All those things. This has been Bomberger's Declaration 2024 on the Bourbon Note. I'm Ben. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And we'll see you on the next one.